What's up, NFL fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and purchase your copy of our latest football game plan book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. We have these available in both PDF and paperback form.
For the Dolphins in this ball game, you want to make this a horizontal game. Force the Detroit Lions defense that wants to be aggressive and play downhill, go sideline to sideline. I think that's what Miami does very well. I think it can serve them well against Detroit. And now look at the biggest matchup being Brent Grimes versus Matthew Stafford. We know Grimes is excellent as far as ball skills are concerned. He does a great job in baiting quarterbacks, and it could result into a big play for that Dolphins defense. And I would keep my foot on the gas. We've seen so many times this year coming back from large deficits. We saw it versus New Orleans, and we also saw it more recently versus Atlanta. So if you have a lead, keep your foot on the gas and try to bury Detroit at home. For the Lions in this ball game, the running game has to wake up. They have to do a better job of running the football. That's the one element of their offense right now that's struggling, and it could derail their chances of having any type of success versus Miami. And you want to keep Cameron Wake asleep. Don't allow him to be a factor in this ball game. Even if you have to chip with the tailback, chip with the tight end, slide protection his way, don't allow him to be in the face of Matthew Stafford all game long. And you want to maintain gap integrity versus a guy like Lamar Miller, who has excellent acceleration and also has that speed to take it the distance. You even have to keep gap integrity versus a guy like Ryan Tannehill. Don't get out of place versus the running game. Otherwise, they can gash you on the ground.
This week versus the Detroit Lions, the Miami Dolphins will have to, number one, cover Calvin Johnson, who's going to be back in the fold this week versus this football team. I'm going to show you one creative way they can not only get pressure on Matt Stafford, but also creatively cover their number one target, as well as the other targets that's going to be out on the field when they go to a spread formation single back. Show you what we're talking about here. Tighten his offset, so essentially you have trips to one side, Calvin Johnson on the backside, and we're just going to double team him and try to play coverage everywhere else while also getting pressure. So what we're doing, we're going to play inside out. We're going to have the cornerback play outside, strong safety or free safety. He's going to play inside. So we're locking him up, and now we're going to focus everywhere else and think we can get creative with our coverages, getting double A gap pressure, and find creative ways to cover these three wide receivers. So what we're doing, defensive end is coming on the outside. We're going to slant the defensive tackle here inside, weak side A gap. We're going to slant the nose tackle into the B gap. Why? Because we're bringing this backer over, getting double A gap pressure. And what we're going to do, we're going to have this defensive end get a bump, and he's going to drop back into that curl out area. You know what I'm saying? That out area right there. We're going to have this corner just kind of sit, wait till whoever comes, whether it be this guy, the top of the bunch, or this guy, whomever comes in his area, he's going to be responsible for whether he goes in, he's going to chase. Reason being, because we're going to have this safety, he's going to be matched up on the guy that's at the top of the bunch, because we're sending this, boom, we're sending him off the edge, getting pressure, trying to influence a quick throw, which go to the flat, which could go right to this defensive end here, and we're dropping the backer over in the middle of the field. So again, sending a nickel guy, having him sit and wait till whoever comes into his zone. Safety is going to be responsible for this guy here. So if he comes up, he's taking him. If he goes out this way, he's following him. And so you have the corner now responsible for whomever is going in his way. If one guy goes in, he's going to run right into that linebacker that's buzzing over to take care of this zone right here, this hook zone. So that's one way they can effectively cover the Detroit Lions. Because again, by sending an extra guy, back will have to stay in to pick him up. If the Miami Dolphins can find ways to get off the field on third down, third and medium, they can have a lot of success this week versus Detroit. Versus the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions can get aggressive in their coverage, but they also have to protect themselves because, again, Ryan Tannehill is an athlete, so you want to throw different coverages his way. And one creative two-deep zone blitz they can utilize, I think, could have success this week versus that Dolphins passing game, especially on second and long, third and long situations, because you want him to hold the football longer in the pocket as he's done throughout the course of his career. But I'm going to show you how they can get creative and drop guys back in the coverage while sending speed to try to get him on the ground. First of all, we're going to send this nickel guy here, and in pre-snap it looks like two-man. Looks like we're going to play cover two man, but we're really playing just cover two classic. So you're going to get a good bump on the corners, and they're responsible for out responsibility, so you're protected on the outs. How you protect the hook, the curl zones, show you right here. Getting pressure on, we're going to drop this defensive end, we're bringing the nickel guy off the edge, We're going to crash this defensive end inside the B gap right there. Nose tackles will be your hook to curl defenders. That's where the zone blitz comes from, because we're going to get double A gap pressure with the backers. We're going to replace these guys with the backers, and that's how we're going to get the zone blitz going. Boom, dropping back here, get a punch, drop back in the hook to curl zone, outside contain. First guy goes, second guy goes again. So now you have 1, 2, 3 speed guys getting back there on the quarterback. He's going to see 2 backers blitzing and thinking, okay, I have a hot read right there, but really you're dropping the 2 nose tackles back deep. And if he wants to go down the sideline on your classic cover 2 beaters, try to get a big play in the hole right here, in between the safety and the corner. You have your 2 safeties over top. They can get extra aggressive, but this is one way they can get Ryan Tannehill on the ground this week. You want to get speed going his way. He still has the tendency of holding the football just a little bit too long. If they're able to blitz with their backers and a nickel back off the corner, they can get him on the ground.
The Dolphins do a great job of expanding your defensive coverage responsibilities, and you see a great example of this versus San Diego. They're going to motion one back to the near side of the field, pull the defender away, and now you're going to have a curl at the top, the H-back Clay on an over route, and the receiver at the bottom running a takeoff with the other back in the backfield running in the flat. It's a horizontal stretch concept designed to expand and create big passing windows for the offense, and also puts the defense in a bind. So this was great design and great execution by Miami, and it's also a way to help neutralize pressure, which will be huge this week versus Detroit. The Lions' passing game is also very versatile. You see a condensed formation here designed to create a one-on-one opportunity at the top of the screen. You have 4 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers, and 1 running back, all inside the numbers, with the 2 outside guys running clear out routes, the 1 guy in the slot running a seam, and the back in the backfield running to the flat, all of which are designed, again, to clear out space for the guy at the top. Is going to expand the defense, which then cleared out room for the receiver to run a short in route, which resulted in a big gain on 3rd down versus Atlanta. And these are the type of chess matches that you're going to see within the game between the Dolphins and the Lions. And if they're able to have success in the passing game by creating mismatches and optimum matchups for their receivers, it goes a long way in helping them win the game. This was a big time play at a crucial point versus the Falcons. George Vasquez at the Bleacher Review asked the question, hey, Football Game Plan, it's been a while since we talked thoughts on Tannehill now, laugh out loud. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, George Vasquez. Here's what I said about Tannehill back in 2012.
Next up, Ryan Tannehill out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 225. What I like most is that he is very athletic, was a former wide receiver at Texas A&M. Strong arm. He has a little bit of upside. Reason being, he's still learning to play the quarterback position. Tends to run hot and cold with his reads and with his accuracy, but I think he still warrants a 2nd and 3rd round grade.
Tannehill, even in year 3, still shows exactly what my concerns were about him back in 2012. However, what is working for him during this 4-game stretch is that he's getting back to being an athlete. And you see it right here versus San Diego. Split zone off of the read option, except this time he pulls the ball and is off to the races for a big gain. His athleticism will put the backside defender in a bind and also begin to dictate coverage like you will see here later on in this ball game. Because Tannehill has burned them with his legs, he's now dictating how the Chargers will play him, and here they're only going to rush 4, and now you have an ideal situation if you're a quarterback. 5 offensive linemen blocking 4 defensive linemen. That gives you good protection in the pocket, a chance to survey the field, and now the ability to break camp if no one is open. And because of his mobility, defenders have to come up and respect that aspect of his game, thus allowing the receiver to work back across the field. Clear, Tannehill finds him, and it's a touchdown for the Dolphins. So in conclusion, George, it's still a wait and see with Tannehill. The remaining stretch of games is huge for him and for this Dolphins football team, and if this level of consistency remains, I'll be glad to admit that I was wrong in my evaluation projection, but 4 games in year 3 doesn't make you quickly change your mind. But I have to give credit when credit is due. Tannehill is playing excellent football as of late. The biggest X factor in this game for the Dolphins will be their offensive line. They played well so far this year, especially in this 4-game stretch. And you look at what they can do well, pass protect. Now that Ryan Tannehill has time in the pocket, the offense has taken off. This will be their toughest test as of yet, because we know Detroit can get pressure on the inside as well as on the outside. And the X factor for the Lions in this ball game will be getting those key players back in the fold. Guys like Calvin Johnson, even rookie Kyle Van Noy, I think he can have a huge impact in his first game back this year. So I think those two guys, in my opinion, will have to play a huge role in this ball game, but just getting those guys back instantly helps out their offense and their defense. I like the Lions in this ball game. I think this will be a low-scoring game between two excellent defenses in this matchup, and the reason why I'm going with Detroit, the fact that they get Calvin Johnson back, I believe will help out that running game and make them a much more balanced offensive attack. I think that right there will be enough to knock off Miami, although, again, it will be a low-scoring game, two excellent defenses. This will be a great matchup to check out this week.
What's up, fantasy football fans? I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. For all of your starts, sits, fantasy football notes, news, and tidbits, tune into our podcast, Football Game Plan Starting Lineup, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Football Game Plan Radio Network, which is located at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.
And I also want to give a huge shout out to Lion fan forums and Dolphin fan forums for always showing Football Game Plan support.